too much. Okay?
Mr. President, what did Jeffrey Epstein mean in his emails when he said you knew about the girls?
I know nothing about that. They would have announced that a long time ago. It's really, what did he mean when he spent all the time with Bill Clinton, with the president of Harvard, who you know who that is, Summers, Larry Summers, whatever his name is, and all of the other people that he spent time with. Jeffrey Epstein and I had a very bad relationship for many years. But he also saw a strike because I was president. So he dictated a couple of memos to himself. Give me a break. You got to find out, what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan Chase.
Sir,
Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead. Go ahead.
Incriminating in the file,
On
sir.
Venezuela,
Why
sir?
not why acting as a
Quiet, McGee.
On
Go
Venezuela, sir, you've had a lot of meetings on Venezuela. I know you can't tell us what your next steps will be, but can you say, have you made up your mind on what you'd like to do for, as far as action for
I
Venezuela?
sort of have made up my mind, yeah. I mean, I can't tell you what it would be, but I sort of made up my mind.
What do you say to some of your supporters who might not be excited about another foreign campaign?
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, I can't tell you what it is, but we made a lot of progress with Venezuela in terms of stopping drugs from pouring in. But we have a Mexico problem. We have a Colombia problem, meaning Colombia, the country. We're doing very well. Drugs coming into our country are greatly slowed, as you can imagine.
On the tariff rollback, sir, does this signal a change on your message for affordability for
No, I
groceries?
just want to bring down some of the foods. Look, for the most part, the foods, when we cut back a little bit on those tariffs, we'll get the price down, but they're not competitive in this country. Like tomatoes and bananas and things, we don't make them in this country. So there's no protection of our industries or our food products. So what we're going to do is we cut back, you'll see prices come down even lower. You have to understand, we've all suffered from the Biden prices, which were much higher than they are right now. But I'll be able to get them down even lower, at least a little bit lower, possibly in some cases a lot lower.
More rollbacks in the future with your tariff policies? Will there be more rollbacks in the future? Will you change anything else with tariffs?
I don't think it'll be necessary. We just did a little bit of a rollback on some foods, like coffee, as an example, where the prices of coffee were a little bit high. Now they'll be on the low side in a very short period of time. We're very good at this. The problem is we inherited a country when we took over on January 20th where the prices were through the roof. So they were up 30, 40, 50%. If we got them down 30%, that means they're still higher than where they were. We had a great 4 years, and I think this is going to be even much better. And in terms of affordability, it's not a good word for the Democrats, it's a good word for us, because our prices are much lower and will soon be much, much lower than they were under the Democrats.
Mr. President, my newspaper, The Telegraph, has led the way in exposing...
Are you the Telegraph?
That's right.
Oh, what a job you did.
Thank you
What
very
a
much.
job you did.
We led
Are
the
you
way.
proud of yourselves?
We've had a good couple
How did
of
you
weeks.
catch BBC like that?
We have good sources.
Honestly, congratulations. You did a great service to a lot of countries, a lot of great human beings, if you want to know the truth. And exposing what fake news is all about, what BBC did, nobody would even think a thing like that was done. They actually changed the words coming out of my mouth.
So the BBC has apologised and retracted the report, but they say they won't pay any compensation.
Well, we'll
Is that
sue them.
enough?
We'll sue them for anywhere between $1 billion and $5 billion, probably sometime next week.
So you're ready to take...
Well, I
legal
think I
action?
have to do it. I mean, they've even admitted that they cheated. I mean, not that they couldn't have not done that. They cheated. They changed the words coming out of my mouth. That's worse than what CBS did with Kamala. They changed her answer, but at least they didn't show it, coming out of her mouth.
Do you think it's appropriate that British TV viewers have to pay more than $200 just for the right to watch television? Do you think the license...
Well, I don't know what they do in a place that I like a lot, in general, UK, right? But the people of the UK are very angry about what happened, as you can imagine, because it shows that BBC is fake news. Of course, you and I knew that for a long time, but we didn't know it was this fake.
Have you raised the issue with Sir Keir Starmer?
I have not, but I'll call him. I'm going to call him over the weekend. He actually put a call into me. He's very embarrassed by it. that's, I don't know what percentage is owned by the country, but regardless if it's small or large or nothing, I can say this, the UK is very, very embarrassed by BBC, what they did.
Mr. President, you've said that tariffs do not increase prices for consumers, but now you're lowering
I didn't
tariffs.
say they don't. I say they may in some cases, but to a large extent they've been borne by the country. As an example, we have virtually no inflation, and yet we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. So we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. We've used tariffs to stop wars. You look at India and Pakistan, look at so many wars I stopped just by saying I'm going to impose tariffs on your country if you're going to have a war.
So if tariffs
in that
are
case,
increasing prices.
in that case it was nuclear war, and I stopped it by using tariffs. But oftentimes, and to a large extent, the countries themselves pick up the tab. The companies pick up the tab, and I find that based on inflation, we have virtually no inflation. When I inherited the country from Sleepy Joe Biden, the inflation, it was the highest inflation in the history of our country, or at least 48 years. They used 48. I say it was the history. We have now a low inflation, going to be very soon even lower. But we'll get some of the prices down a little bit, which will bring them down to a new low.
How much of the tab is being picked up by Americans?
I think very little. I mean, I really think very little. If you look at it, and when you add the trillions of dollars that our country is making, when you add the fact that I'll be giving back $2,000 or so to middle-income people, low-income people, everybody but the rich will be giving $2,000 back, and you add that in. When you add the fact that our country is extremely rich and we have no wars and we're respected again, when you add the fact that when China was threatening to us in terms of rare earths, I was able to solve it just by putting tariffs on China, and we made a deal a week later. When you add all of the benefits, the single greatest thing we have right now is the use of tariffs, and I use them properly. For years they've been used against us, and I think, whether you call them tariffs or anything else, if you didn't use them, you really would have an unguarded disaster on your hands.
Well, those $2,000 payments, will that be inflationary? Because previously Republicans have said that sending money to people like when they're buying goods,
well, the
like-
difference is this is money earned as opposed to money that was made up. That money was made up. Biden gave like the Inflation Reduction Act, which did not reduce inflation, and it wasn't meant to, and they admitted it was a phony name. But they spent hundreds of billions of dollars on a fake deal called the Inflation Reduction Act. That was made up money. When I pay people $2,000 each for low and moderate income and middle income people, everybody but the rich will get this. That's not made up, that's real money. That comes from other countries, yeah.
Speaking of China, since you made the deal, since you struck the deal with them, has the Chinese agreed to actually purchase any soybeans? Have they locked in any soybean purchases?
Yeah, and they're in the process of doing it. We spoke to them today. They're in the process of doing not only a little bit, but they'll be doing a lot of soybean purchase.
Do you know when? In the spring?
It's starting. Before then, I think before then. It's starting.
Can you say who
They'll
you
be
spoke-
buying a lot of soybeans, but really, Jennifer, a lot of everything else too.
Can you say who you spoke with or who your team spoke with?
Top of the line. Top of the line.
Just on the rebate checks, sir, how soon could Americans see those checks? Will that be in time for Christmas, holiday shopping?
No, not for this year. It'll be next year sometime.
Do you have a time frame? How
No,
many
but
months?
sometime during the year, next year. It's a lot of money, but we've taken in a lot of money from tariffs. The tariffs allow us to give a dividend if we want to do that. Now we're going to do a dividend, and we're also going to be reducing debt. We have, because of Biden and others, we have 37 trillion in debt. So we're going to be doing a dividend, which people will enjoy and spend and do what they want. But we're also going to be reducing debt very substantially.
What if the Supreme Court rules against you, sir? Is there any
Well, then
plans
I'd have to do something else. We'll have to figure something else. That would be a very sad day for our country. Just today, I stopped a war. I won't go into which one, but you'll be able to figure it out.
Cambodia, Thailand?
But that was quick. You're very smart. Good, thank you. But just today, I stopped a war by the use of tariffs. Oftentimes, I'm able to do that. And if you think of the cost of war, just forget about death, which is number one, but the death within those countries. But that all comes to in one form or another, it all comes right back to us. I stopped the war just today through the use of tariffs, the threat of tariffs. If we didn't have that, other countries would use tariffs on us, and we would have no fair means of fighting back.
Is that confirmation? Cambodia, Thailand, you stopped?
They're doing great.
Mr. President,
They were not doing great, and then, they had a conflict, as you know.
Yes, sir.
And I spoke to the prime ministers of both countries, and they're doing great. I think they're going to be fine.
Mr. President, what are you doing on healthcare subsidies? Obviously, people's ACA premiums
healthcare
going up soon.
subsidies is a good question. So, Obamacare, which is the Unaffordable Care Act, it is totally unaffordable. You see the kind of money the insurance companies are making. Hundreds of billions of dollars. Their stock is up over 1,000% over a relatively short period of time. What we're going to be doing, what I'm going to be recommending, not this, Obamacare is a disaster, far too expensive and lousy health care. We're going to give the money to the people to buy their own health care. And the kind of money that we give to the insurance companies is more than going to take care of it. People are going to be able to buy their own health insurance, and it's going to be great health care, and they're going to get paid by the government. The government will be one of the greatest deals this country's ever made. So instead of giving it to insurance companies, big, fat, bloated insurance companies, we're giving the money directly to the people to buy their own health care.
Will Americans buy it from insurance companies?
Some may. I mean, they'll be negotiating prices. It's really free enterprise. They'll be, you can do it through an insurance company. You can also buy it direct. They have savings accounts. They have a lot of different ways of buying health care.
Another question. You asked for an investigation today. The people associated with Epstein, including Reid Hoffman, the major Democratic donor.
Right.
What impact do you hope that kind of investigation could have on next year's?
I don't know, but I heard they are appointing a U.S. attorney, and I hear a really good one to look into it. I hear Southern District is going to be looking Jay Clayton, and he's a great man, a great attorney, and he's a highly respected, one of the most respected people in the country in terms of law and law enforcement. As you know, he headed up the SEC. He was the head of Sullivan and Cromwell for years. He's one of the most respected people in the country. He's been confirmed for the Southern District, and I heard Jay is going to be looking into it. Jay Clayton is a real legal talent and a very, very legitimate person.
Do you believe that presidents should be able to order investigations?
Sure. I mean, I'm the chief law enforcement officer of the country. Not that I want to use that, but I am considered the chief law enforcement agent in the country, and I'm allowed to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it. I had nothing to do with that choice. As an example, that came from Pam Bondi from the DOJ. But you can't pick a better person than Jay Clayton. He's truly one of the most respected people in that world.
Have you ruled
Are
out
you tracking the Georgia RICO case at all? Did you see the news on that today?
Which one?
The Georgia case, the RICO case. Apparently, they're continuing with the investigation into you and your allies related to the 2020 election. Not tracking that?
You mean the Fannie Willis case?
I think so.
I can't imagine it. I thought that case was over. I was told that case was totally over.
Mr. President, have you ruled out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell?
I haven't even thought about it. I mean, I haven't thought about it for months. Maybe I haven't thought about it at all. You're just asking me a
Why can't
question.
you rule it
But I
out?
don't talk about that. I don't rule it in or out. I don't even think about it.
On Epstein, sir, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman, was on CBS News. She was talking about how the files should be released. We anticipate that a vote will happen in the House. I know you wrote about the investigation today.
I don't care about it, released or not. What I think you should do, if you're going to do it, then you have to go into Epstein's friends. This Reid Hoffman spent a lot of time on the island. I was never on his island. Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. You're going to have to look into his friends because, if they're going to do that, and I think the perfect guy to do it would be Southern District, somebody like Jay Clayton. I understand that's who's been assigned.
But does the congresswoman have a point, though?
Does Marjorie Taylor Greene have a point?
Does she have a point, though?
I know nothing about her.
On the release of the files. All the files.
Well, they can have whatever they want. They already do. I think they have 50,000 pages already. Look, this is a Democrat hoax. This is a hoax put out by the Democrat, and a couple of few Republicans have gone along with it because they're weak and ineffective. But this is a Democrat hoax to get away from the fact that they just lost the shutdown and they've lost the elections. They've lost the big election, to me, in a record number. They lost the popular vote. They lost the swing states. They lost everything. I think it was 312 to 220 something. So this is a way of not talking about that. It's a hoax. This is no different than Russia. And it's headed up by Democrats and some very weak Republicans.
I was just wondering if you have a timeline.
Very
for
few.
Timeline for when you might release more of those files. Can it be
Which ones? Which-
Democrats to Epstein.
Well, I don't know about those files. I know nothing about it. But I understand they released like 40 or 50,000 pages already. And nobody knows. I will say this. If they had anything, they would have used it before the election. Okay? I can't tell you what they put in since the election. But if they had anything, you don't think they would have used it before the election? They would have gladly used it before the election.
So speaking of the election,
Jennifer, go ahead.
why were you, or why was your team encouraging Congresswoman Boebert and Congresswoman Mace to not pursue
Because
this?
we think it's bad to talk about it because it gets away from the subject of how well the Republicans are doing. We have the greatest economy. We have the largest investment ever made in our country's history. We have all of these great things happen. We have very little inflation, whereas he had record-setting, the biggest inflation in history. All of these things are good. And when you talk about the Epstein hoax, what happens is you're not talking about how well we've done.
Mr. President, on that
And
subject,
that's the whole purpose behind them. They want to waste people's time, and some of the dumber Republicans like that.
Mr. President, on that subject, are we going to see?
It's mostly Democrats.
Are we going to see more domestic travel from you as you try to sell that message? Are we going to see some rallies?
Domestic travel?
Yeah.
Well, I
Just
want to
so
spend
you-
time here. I just got back from a big trip, a very successful trip with China and with, all the countries. I saw many countries over there, but we stopped in Malaysia, Japan, South Korea. It was a phenomenal trip. We had a great meeting with President Xi, who's, a great leader, great country, actually, whether you like it or not. China is a great country, amazing place. Japan, amazing place. We stopped at tremendous countries with tremendous leaders, and we did really well. We brought back trillions of dollars in trade and other things.
But someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene would say you're spending too much time overseas, you're not spending enough time selling your domestic.
So I heard that Marjorie Taylor Greene said, "Oh, gee, I'm spending too much time overseas." So let's say I don't meet with China. You know what's happened right now to Georgia and to every other state? They're not working because your magnets and your rare earths would have kicked in, and there wouldn't be a factory in the world that was working. If I didn't have a relationship overseas with China, with Japan, with South Korea, with all of them, Malaysia, I went to Malaysia, but visited many more countries than that. If we didn't do that, if we just stayed right here, you would right now have no factory anywhere in the world that would be working because of rare earth with China. Not only that, we made a deal with China. We take in billions and billions of dollars. We made a deal with Japan. We take in billions of dollars. We made a deal with South Korea. We're taking in billions and billions of dollars. If I would stay home, none of that would be happening. And by the way, I stay home 98% of the time. The last thing I want to do is travel 22 hours in an airplane, as nice as this plane is. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not anyway, she is a very different thinking than I have. Something happened to her over the last period of a month or two where she changed, I think, politically. I think that her constituents aren't going to be happy. Already, I have people calling me. They want to challenge her to a race in her district in Georgia. And, that's too bad. She's lost a wonderful conservative reputation. But when she says, don't go overseas, if I didn't go overseas, we might be in a war right now with China.
On nuclear testing, sir, are you receiving any meetings about
We're going to have
concerns
nuclear
about
testing because other people test. We have other countries that test. We have more nuclear weapons than any other country. I'm the one that renovated them and built some, and I hated to do it, but I had no choice because they have it. We have more. Russia's second, and China is a distant third. but within 4 or 5 years, they're going to be up with us.
How soon?
What I would like to do is I would like to go denuclearization. In other words, where we have a meeting primarily of the top 3 to cut back on nuclear weapons. That would be a great thing.
How soon could the test take place, though?
Pretty soon. What's that? Pretty soon.
China, Russia, US.
We're number 1. Russia's number 2. China's number 3. They're catching up. They're quite a bit distant from us right now, but they'll catch us in 4 or 5 years.
Mr. President, can you
But
tell us?
I think the best thing would be if we denuclearize.
Mr. President, could you tell us why you needed to get an MRI? I understand that the results were good, but what was it for?
Because it's part of my physical. Getting an MRI is very standard. Well, you think I shouldn't have it? Other people get it.
Typically, an MRI
I had
is
an
some
MRI.
specific part of your body
Here's
they're
what the
scanning.
story is. I had an MRI. The doctor said it was the best result he has ever seen as a doctor. That's it. But I had an MRI as part of my standard yearly, or I think they do it every 2 years, but I have the physical every year, and the result was outstanding.
Was it your brain?
Did you
or
know?
your heart? Or...
I have no idea what they analyzed, but whatever they analyzed it well, and they said that I had as good a result as they've ever seen. Now, the other thing I took, as you know, very advanced test on mental acuity, because I think a president should have to do that. And as you probably heard, I aced it. I got a perfect score. I got the highest score. I got a perfect score. And the only reason I tell you that is it's one subject, unlike Biden and others, that you can take off your plane.
The question on nuclear testing, just be very specific. Are you saying you want to explode a warhead?
I don't want to tell you about that, but we will do nuclear testing like other countries do. We have more nuclear weapons than any other country, and we have to test.
Other countries are not exploding
What
warheads.
in the last election? Do you think you'll get on the road for the next election?
Oh yeah, I'll be helping people. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be on the road helping people.
Will you be
It's very important. The midterms are very important. And again, I think we should terminate the filibuster. Republicans should terminate the filibuster. The Democrats would do it immediately if they ever got power. And without Manchin and Sinema, they would have done it the last
Would you
time.
be open to endorsing someone primarying Marjorie Taylor Greene given her latest statements?
Well, it depends on who runs against her. I mean, I'm no longer much of a fan because I disagree with her policy. When she said that, going to foreign countries, bringing back trillions of dollars is not important. Do you think I want to go and be on an airplane for 20 hours? Some of you were with me. 22 hours to be exact, travel and then get off and make a speech and get people to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in our country. I'd rather do it without having to go, but if you didn't go, you wouldn't be able to have that kind of result. As an example, Malaysia, if you look at Thailand, I stopped a war in Thailand and Cambodia. If I didn't go to that region, I probably wouldn't have been able to stop that war. That war would have been very costly in terms of lives, but even costly in terms of us.
Are you meeting with Indiana lawmakers next week? Are you meeting with lawmakers from Indiana next week on
Not that I know of, I
redistricting?
might be, I don't know. They will, I guess they're making a decision as to whether or not they want to gain for the Republican Party 1 or 2 more. By the way, I will say this, I heard 1 or 2 more seats. I heard that a big lawsuit will be taking place, will be taking place concerning the California hoax, where they're trying to get 5 more seats. And California is one of the most dishonest elections ever. They send out tens of millions of ballots to people all over the place. Many of those people get 2 and 3 ballots, and they come back. California is a disgrace on voting, and they're doing something that is very illegal. So we are or will be suing California on the 5 seats.
Department
that
of
they're
Justice will be?
The Department of Justice, yes. Being headed by the Department of Justice.
You're meeting with the Saudi Crown Prince next week. Tell us
More
about
than meeting, we're honoring Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince, yes.
What are your goals for the meeting? Have you decided whether to sell F-35 fighter jets to Saudi Arabia? Are you going to do that?
Well, they want to buy a lot of jets. We make the best jets, we make the best missiles. You saw that when we took out the nuclear capability of Iran. No, for 22 years they wanted to do that. No president had the guts to do it. We did it, and Iran is a different place. By the way, Iran wants to negotiate a deal too. Everybody wants to negotiate with us now. If we didn't have military strength, if we didn't rebuild our military in my first term, and now we continue to do it, Biden dissipated it by giving a chunk to the Taliban. Not a good idea.
So, I'm sorry.
But you know what? The good news is it was a lot, but relatively very little.
So, yes to the jets, or you're not sure yet?
I'm looking at that. They've asked me to look at it. They want to buy a lot of 35, but they want to buy actually more than that fighter jets, yeah.
Will the Abraham Accords be a part of that conversation? Perhaps getting
What?
the Abraham Accords, getting Saudi Arabia.
And the
Saudi
Abraham
Arabia.
Accords will be a part. We're going to be discussing. I hope that Saudi Arabia will be going into the Abraham Accords fairly shortly. We've had tremendous interest in the Abraham Accords since we put Iran out of business. Okay? Thank you much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Mr.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.